Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Muhammad Ubaid and this is another video of basics of structural analysis series. And today we will discuss the fundamental assumptions in structural analysis. This topic is very important because we should know before starting our main subject and main topics what are the assumptions which we made before analyzing a structure. So if you want to understand all these assumptions very clearly, please watch this video till the end, and if you like this video please subscribe to my channel and share this video. And if you have any confusion regarding the topic, please comment down in the comment box and I will try to answer all your problem as soon as possible. So let's start the video.
So today the topic of our video is fundamental assumptions in structural analysis. Now the most important assumption in structural analysis is the linearity of response. Linearity of we have discussed in our first video of this series that we get many types of responses from a structure after doing the structural analysis. So let's say that stress, stress is a response, and displacement may be a response. So what does it mean? These responses should be proportional to the external force. Now if we plot a graph between, let's say, a response like displacement, let's say take displacement on x axis, and our external force, let's say our external force is p along y axis, then the graph will be linear. So this is what we mean from the linearity of response. Now how can we say that the response is linear? The response can only be linear if the superposition condition of superposition is satisfied. The superposition is valid in our structure. Now what do we understand by superposition? So for understanding superposition, let us take an example. Superposition. So today our topic is fundamental assumption in structural analysis. Now the most important assumption in structural analysis is the linearity of response. Linearity of response. Now we have discussed in our first video of this series what do we mean by responses. Response, we can get many type of response for a structure after doing the structural analysis, like we can get stresses, we can get displacement, so these responses should be proportional. These responses should be proportional to the external force. These responses should be proportional to the external force. Now if we plot a graph between any response, like if we plot a graph between displacement delta and we take external force at our y axis, now the graph will be linear. Now how can we say that the response of our structure is linear? So the condition for this is the validity of superposition principle. Now what is superposition principle? So let us understand this superposition principle first. Now what is superposition principle? If we take an example of a beam, let's say this is a fixed beam, or let's just take an determinate structure. Let us take an beam which is pin jointed here and it is roller supported here. Okay, now if we apply two loads, like this is our load P1 and here we apply a load P2. Okay, now if we measure the deflection at the center of this beam, we measure the deflection at the center of this beam, like we say not center, we can take anywhere, let's say at this point, at point D, we measure the deflection here. Okay, now what does superposition principle mean? It means that if we apply these two loads simultaneously, then the deflection at point D, let us write it like this: if we apply both the loads, load 1 and load 2, load 1 plus load 2 simultaneously on the structure, then the deflection at this point will be equal to the deflection if we apply the load one by one. Okay, if we apply load P1 first and then we apply load P2 after applying the load first, it will be equal to the deflection if we apply the load second first and after applying second load we apply load 1. Okay, so it will be equal to if we draw like this, it will be equal to if we apply load P1 first and then we measure the deflection at delta 1 and after that we apply a load, another load P2 and we measure deflection delta 2, and in the other condition we apply first P2 and after applying P2 we apply P1 and we notice the deflection. So these two deflection should be equal to the our first deflection when we apply the load P1 and P2 simultaneously on the structure. So this condition should be satisfied for the condition of superposition or for the superposition principle to be valid. This condition should be satisfied in our structure. Okay, so this is the meaning of superposition principle. Now how do we know that the response of a system is linear as well as the superposition principle is valid on that structure? So for that we have some conditions which should be fulfilled in a structure so that we can say that the response of the structure is linear and the superposition principle is valid in that structure. So there are some points and we can understand them very clearly for the response linearity and and superposition principle validity. So how do we ensure these two things? So there are some criteria. By understanding or by analyzing those criteria, we can say the response of the structure is valid and the superposition principle is also valid. Okay, so the first is the structure should be in static equilibrium. Okay, the structure is in static, the structure is in static equilibrium. Now what does it mean, the structure is in static equilibrium? It means that sigma fx should be 0, sigma fy should be 0 and sigma mxy should also be 0. So this is the meaning of static equilibrium. Okay, the structure should be in static equilibrium and these three equations should be valid for a 2D structure, and there will be 3 more equations for a 3D structure, as we have discussed in our first video of this series, and I will drop a link in the description of this video so you can find that video easily, and to understand all this concept you can watch that video. Now this is our first condition. The second condition is the material should be, there are some conditions related to the material. Let's say about material, the material should be material linearity. Okay, the material should be linear. Now what does it mean? For a material should behave linearly. Okay, for a material should behave linearly, there are some criteria which should be fulfilled, like the material should be homogeneous. Okay, homogeneous, the material should be homogeneous. Number 2, first let us understand what does it mean by homogeneous. So homogeneous mean, if this is a piece of material, then if we take any point on this material, randomly any point on this material, so at each and every point the properties of the material should be same. If at this point the E is 2 into 10 to the power 5 Newton per mm square, then it should be same at every point in this material. Okay, at this point E should be 2 into 10 to the power minus 5, at this point E should be 2 into 10 to the power minus, at this point, at each and every point in this material the value of that property should be same. So this is the meaning of homogeneity. Okay, now the second point is, the after homogeneity the second point is isotropic. Now what does it mean by isotropic? So if we take an material piece, let's say that this is a piece of a material, the property of this material in all the direction, let's say this is our x direction, this is our y direction, and this is our perpendicular to this board, this is our z direction. So the property, let's say the Young modulus of elasticity E, okay, Ex should be equal to Ey. Okay, the property should not change along the axis. Okay, the property should remain same along each and every axis of this material. So we can say, if this condition is satisfied, the property does not change along any axis in the material, then we can say that the material is isotropic. Okay, so this is the second most important condition. Now there are some material which are not isotropic, and so the perfect example or the very simple example for a material which is not isotropic is wood. Okay, wood is not isotropic. Okay, because if we take the example of wood, then if we take a log of wood, like this is a log of a wood, if we assume that this is a log of a wood, so the property of the wood along this axis may different and along y axis may different. Okay, so in wood the property may change along the axis. Okay, so this is the second most important. Now we will talk about our third criteria for material linearity. The first one was the homogeneity of material, second one was the isotropic property of material, and the third one is in material linearity, third one is elastic. Now what does it mean by elastic? If a material is elastic, then if we apply a load on the material and we remove that load, so if we apply a load on material, there is a deflection delta, and now if we remove that load, okay, if we remove that load, so after removing that load the deflection will become 0. Okay, now this is a very important condition. If the material is not elastic, then the principle will not be valid. If we apply a load and there is a deflection delta, and now if we remove the load, the deflection will become 0. Okay, after removing the load. So this is the third one in material linearity. Now the fourth very important criteria is Hooke's law. Okay, Hooke's law. These four are under the material linearity. Now what does Hooke's law say? Hooke's law say that this is a very famous formula which comes from Hooke's law. E is equal to P upon E. Okay, what does, if we go back from this formula, so how will it look like? P is equal to EE. Okay, so here from here we can say that stress is proportional to strain. Okay, now Hooke's law says that the stress should be proportional to strain. So this is a very common law, and every student know about this, so we will not discuss deeply this law. So this is the basic of this Hooke's law. Now this is for material linearity. Okay, now we have discussed first assumption, which was the structure should be in static equilibrium, and second was the material linearity. Now the third important condition is the supports. This criteria is related to support condition. The support are unyielding. Okay, so the supports of the structure, okay, the supports on which the structure is supported should not yield. Okay, this is a very important criteria, and we will discuss this thing in deeply in our future videos. Now the fourth and a very important criteria is the displacement are small. The displacements in our structure are small. So in our whole course we will only discuss the structure having small displacement. Okay, the large displacement are discussed under the large displacement theory. Okay, which is not we are going to discuss here. So we will always discuss the structure having small displacement under the given loading condition. Okay, so what does it mean by small displacement? If we apply a load on a structure, the displacement should not such large that the loading change the shape of a structure very much. Like this, if this is a beam, if this is a beam and okay, let's make it roller here. Okay, this has become very bad figure. Let us make it again. So what does it mean by small displacement? If we apply a load here P, this displacement or under this loading or at anywhere on this beam, the displacement should be small. Okay, these displacement should not be excessive, which can change the shape of this structure. Okay, if we apply a load on this beam, the structure shape should not change very much after applying this load. Okay, so this is what we mean by small displacement. Now the final assumption, last assumption is there are no self straining. There is no self straining in material. The last one condition is no self straining in material. So what does it mean by self straining of a material? If the material of the structure is subjected to excessive temperature, if the structure is subjected to excessive temperature and our structure may experience some problems. Okay, it may experience some self straining in the material. Okay, and the other thing is if the structure is not fabricated very well, so there may be some fabrication errors. Okay, so the structure will not fit in its position and we have to pull or push the structure to fit the structure in that position. So there will be some strain develop in the structure. Okay, so this will cause a self straining of the structure. And the other thing which may happen is the pre-stress. Okay, pre-stress, the structure may be pre-stressed. So these are some examples of self straining in a structure. So if the self straining is very much, then the response of a structure may become non-linear, and if the self straining is not so much, then it may not. Okay, so we have to see all these things in our structure so that we can use the assumption of linearity in our response and the superposition principle validity. So this is it for this video, and we will meet in our next video. Thanks for watching.